they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Now, this picture, we want you to focus on this picture, which is from Donald Trump's rally at the Butler Farm Show grounds in Pennsylvania. This one is going viral on social media. This picture has got Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk, who is also the boss of social media platform X. He's standing right behind the Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. He was seen shaking a leg with his hands in the air. Now, some are calling this moment iconic. Some have called it a photo for the history books. Now, this rally by Donald Trump in Pennsylvania was important as it was in Pennsylvania. Only the place where only a few weeks ago Donald Trump survived an assassination attempt. He returned to Pennsylvania with a very different presidential race. He now faces a new Democratic opponent in Kamala Harris after President Joe Biden dropped out of the race. Now, viewers, this is very, very significant. Polls are giving Kamala Harris a slight edge nationally, but in the key battleground states, it's a nail-biter. Pennsylvania is one of the 7 swing states, and just 4 weeks are left for the big U.S. elections. Sporting a black baseball cap which said "Make America Great Again," Elon Musk said that this is no ordinary election. President Trump must win to preserve the Constitution. He must win to preserve democracy in America. Listen in.
And we had one president who couldn't climb a flight of stairs, and another who was fist pumping after getting shot. Fight, fight, fight! Blood coming down the face. Now, America is the home of the brave. This is a must-win situation. Must win. As you can see, I'm not just MAGA. I'm dark MAGA. I think this election, I think it's the most important election of our lifetime. This is no ordinary election. The other side wants to take away your freedom of speech. They want to take away your right to bear arms. They want to take away your right to vote effectively.
As I was saying, not me, well, that's what Donald Trump said when he started his speech with the immigration chart he was looking at when gunshots rang out in July. He pretended as if he was resuming the speech that was interrupted by the bullet in July. And here's what he said about the assassination attempt on him.
Exactly 12 weeks ago this evening on this very ground, a cold-blooded assassin aimed to silence me and to silence the greatest movement, MAGA, in the history of our country. MAGA. We love MAGA. For 16 harrowing seconds during the gunfire, time stopped as this vicious monster unleashed pure evil from his sniper's perch, not so far away. But by the hand of Providence and the grace of God, that villain did not succeed in his goal. He did not stop our movement. He did not break out our spirit. He did not shake our unyielding resolve to save America from evils of poverty, hatred, and destruction.
So you heard Donald Trump. Now the question, viewers, is in this tight race to the White House with the support of Elon Musk, will Trump be able to lure voters? That's our big debate, and let's welcome our guests joining us on the broadcast this evening. We have Vibhuti Jha, ex-Republican candidate for New York Assembly, Nish Acharya, former Director of Innovation and Entrepreneur for President Obama and current outside advisor to the Biden administration. Good evening to both of you. Thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now this evening. I'd like to begin the discussion with you, Vibhuti Jha. Now, interesting visuals who are going viral, at least on social media, because in these visuals, we can see Elon Musk, the owner, the boss of one of the social media platforms, X, which is quite important when it comes to elections. Do you think the Musk factor can really help Trump with just 1 month to go for the US elections?
Thank you, Hina, for having me. And I wanted to definitely say that Musk is making a difference. one of the critical elements of this particular 2024 election is that for once, certain platforms of social media are supporting Trump, and he's doing it openly. He spent his $44 billion to free up X, as he said, and we know with the help of so many X files that came out, the extent to which Harris-Biden administration were impinging upon the fundamental right of speech in containing information and giving misinformation. We have on record Zuckerberg himself admit in a congressional hearing or senatorial hearing somewhere where he said that the Harris-Biden administration had pumped them, had goaded them not to cover the news in a particular manner. And he gave in. Right now, he's on a image building consulting trip. Here is important here. We all know, and particularly since you are in India and covering that, we all know the extent to which Jack's and Agrawal's tenure of Twitter did to free speech and right-wing speech in India as well as in the United States. This particular battle, when Musk says that it is a pivotal election, it's true, because you have on record, and it's not that I'm making it up.
Right.
It's on record that John Kerry made a statement, former Secretary of State and currently Czar of Climate Change. He made a statement that the First Amendment rights have to be curtailed to prevent disinformation. What disinformation is he talking about? We have on record Hillary Clinton, former Secretary of State and a presidential candidate, saying that we have to curb the freedom of speech. We have on record Kamala Harris and everybody saying that we have to curb the freedom of speech for what they call disinformation. You know and I know. Whether our gentleman, Mr. Acharya, knows that or not, I do not know. But as the saying goes, we have to recognize that I told these people of Vermont, your dream of live free or die is gone with the wind. If this administration wins the election, live free or die, well, their message is very simple. You die, we live. You know, that's exactly the point, which is very critical. And this man, the whole world today knows that because of X becoming a private entity, he has jumped in. He has forsaken his future. Elon Musk has completely forsaken his future to the democratic onslaught that is likely to come. And all the people have given warning on that. Kamala Harris herself has given warning on that. So what free speech, what democracy, what freedom is Kamala Harris talking about? It's right in front of our eyes.
Well,
there will be no freedom
of speech. I have another
speech.
question on the point that you have made, Vibhuti Jha, but I'd like to take the opening comments from Nish Acharya, specifically on the Musk factor, and then we'll come to this point of how social media platforms like X can really, make or break an election in the United States of America in the year 2024. Now, Nish Acharya, the question is, as Vibhuti Jha mentioned, Musk is making a difference. What is your opinion? Is Musk a big factor in the current elections, especially when we know that the race to the White House is quite tight between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump? And when he was in Pennsylvania last night, he was facing a different presidential candidate. Last time when he went to Pennsylvania for the rally where there was an assassination attempt, he was against Joe Biden. But this time it was different. Is that the reason why he had to take Elon Musk with him?
Right. Well, I think first, if your guest had actually been to Vermont, he would know that that saying "live free or die" is actually the state of New Hampshire. It's not Vermont. So
it doesn't matter.
Again, misinformation to start with, right there from the guests who speak for Donald Trump. But when I think about this, I think Elon Musk is not going to have any impact on this election, and I'll tell you why. If you look at the billionaires in his peer class who people respect. So Bill Gates has been a global leader on philanthropy, on climate change, on global health. He's given half his money to charitable causes. If you look in India at Nandan Nilekani and what he did for Aadhaar and changing systems, what Mukesh Ambani did with Jio and creating jobs, like this is what we expect our billionaire class. But what this guy Musk is doing is a joke. I mean, he's been, as Twitter is always been, as we call it, a cesspool for for misinformation, and it only got worse when Musk bought it. So compare him to his peers of billionaires and what they've done, and then look at what he's doing with Twitter, and nobody takes it seriously. He's been reprimanded and fined by governments around the world for misinformation on Twitter. So it's not surprising that Trump and Musk ended up together because they believe that lies go with keeping power, and that's the strategy that they have. But in effect, on the election is going to be almost nothing because of the way social media works. The people who are watching Musk's tweets are the ones who are already in Trump's side. Now, I want to make one point about the broader set of comments that your guest made. So every single one of those cases had to do with misinformation about the COVID vaccine. And the vaccine was obviously very important to getting us back to normal. None of the three of us are wearing masks as we do this interview. That's because of the vaccine. It worked, and it worked around the world and had a big impact in India as well. And in every single case, there was misinformation that was spread on these social media platforms, and governments around the world stepped in and said that no, this is not allowed. These platforms must regulate misinformation about the COVID vaccine. And again, for listeners and viewers in India, India has quite a few rules about this. You cannot incite religious violence online. You cannot incite, communal violence. These rules are in place in most countries in the world that you cannot spread misinformation online or in the public that will harm the broader population. So every single case of this is related to that. There's nothing about political free speech anywhere that was done.
Will you like to come in on this
people
point?
Can research their own thing. Sorry?
Let's get Vibhuti Jha to respond to what you're saying.
Look, the idea here is this is where the left wing actually operates as. So if Musk is making a difference, he is an outlier. But others who are on the left wing side, they are the God incarnate. This is the important part, what I call James Bond megalomaniac billionaires. James Bond megalomaniac billionaires who try to frame the agenda in a particular manner. So this is what is critical for us to understand. This particular election is an ideological battle. The ideological battle about the left, communist, socialist, Islamist agenda, which is teaming up with the elitist megalomaniac billionaires who want to frame the agenda, and that's where they are attacking two most prominent democracies right wing, India as well as the United States. If they are able to contain these two countries, they have won the battle for the rest of the world. This is what the viewers must understand. It is an ideological battle. Regarding the element that Acharya ji says, oh, Musk will have no effect. Well, he's afraid because people are now knowing many truths which they brand as misinformation. This is very, very important. The propaganda machine of mainstream media, which they have control over, that's where the agenda and the narrative gets twisted. And this is what people are beginning to understand, that for once, they have a voice on a platform called X, and he can't wishfully negate that. That is a totally, a wishful thinking or trying to ignore the reality of it. Because many people, we all know, as he admitted himself, that Twitter at one time was a cesspool of misinformation.
Right.
Thank you very much for consenting to that. It's no longer a cesspool of misinformation.
Well,
today people are seeing the truth. And tell me one thing.
On that point, I just want to make a point, and then I have a question for you, and I'd like both of you to respond to that. Now, we know in 2022 only, Elon Musk had said that it was Twitter at that point in time because he took over after after he made this statement. He said that the social media platform, then Twitter, now X, interfered in elections and failed in trust and safety. And that's when Elon Musk said he promised to make social media site open as well as fair. This is what he had said in 2022. Now, there is a report from June 2024, this year only, which has seemed to suggest that Elon Musk has actually made X more right-leaning. So how will you like to respond to this? In a way, if at that time there was a certain kind of impact on how, narratives were being presented on the social media platform, now also with a new boss coming in, I mean, it's still not free and fair. At least that's what the reports are showing. That question is for both of you. Vibhuti Jha first and then Nisha Acharya.
Very, very good point. Very good point. That how come the man who wanted X to be a place of fair play is taking a stand now about being pro-right?
Yes.
Remember one thing. This is a very important question. In every business decision or any strategic decision, you have to take a stand. Leadership takes a stand, a position, because we all know one thing for sure, that the left-wingers, Democratic Party will blame Fox News here, the only channel. You can add Newsmax, a tiny little one to that. Oh, they are right-wingers. Fox is right-winger. But the fact that they have ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, PBS, or so many other channels which are touting their cause, they are fair and balanced. But the Fox is evil. Likewise, when Facebook and other social media take an openly clear position as if it is the divine right to speak about left and leftist ideology, and somebody says, okay, no, I'm taking the right wing approach, why is that evil?
Okay.
It is a leadership. Leaders always make a stand.
Okay, Nisha Acharya wants to come in.
And there is their convictions.
Okay.
And that's where it has happened.
We've got your point.
There is a platform here and it is to be done.
Okay, Nisha Acharya, yes.
2 minutes ago, Elon Musk bought Twitter to save democracy, and now he's bought it as a business decision, and he's got to make changes for that. I mean, pick a lane, as they say. Either Musk is as a savior of democracy and he's cleaned it up, or as the facts show, he's not a savior of democracy. He's actually twisted it for the purposes of his political agenda, which, again, if he's the owner, he has the right to do. But you can't say that he's saving democracy and then he's curtailing it for his purposes because he had to make a decision. The reality is this, that the problem with social media is that it is set up to promote outrage on both sides of the aisle, on every aisle around the world. That's how the algorithms work. And we live in a time where actually there's a lot of complex issues underway that require much more thoughtful discussion than 140 characters to allow. Climate change is a very complicated issue, scientifically and economically. The pandemic preparedness, which was the issue around which censorship was, that's a complex issue scientifically, medically, and there needs to be much more in-depth discussion. And so, that's why the social media platforms essentially are not very relevant, because it's mobilizing communities that are already on one side or the other. What we're seeing is that as Harris jumped in, she took a quick lead, because on the policy issues, when people looked at the Biden-Harris record, it was very clear that they decided that now that the concerns about age were put aside, they definitely wanted to stay with Biden and Harris. I think, President Clinton brought this up in Chicago in his speech a few weeks ago, but under Clinton, Obama, and Biden, the Democrats have created 49 million jobs, and under the Bushes and Trump, the Republicans have created 1 million jobs. So people know this. People look at the economy.
So you're trying to essentially say that the optics, the visuals that are going viral, that we are showing to our viewers as well, are not really going to have any impact on the voters. It's the other thing, which is the main issues that people are going to vote on. Is that what you're trying to say? And Musk is definitely not a factor?
I think it's a minor factor. And I think at this point, it's really about the mobilization. It's going to be about get out the vote, getting people to vote on election day. And so for that, there might be some, burning the fires to get people out to vote.
Okay.
Certainly that will be there. But as of this point, people are looking at the complexity and then voting. Getting people out to vote is going to be
very, very important. And, the role of swing states, or battleground states, as they are called, becomes very, very important as well. Nisha Acharya and Vibhuti Jha, I'm just requesting both of you to please stay on with us. We have to slip into a very, very short break, and we'll discuss that aspect when we return. Stay with us.
like us, you better stick around. If you want it, you gotta prove it, like we do it.
कॉलेज बोले तो दोस्ती यारी यारो संग है फ्रीडम सारी फ्रीडम इक्वल्स टाइम ऑफ लाइफ माने जॉय राइड एक्टिवा 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 स्कूटर ले एक्टिवा
स्कूटर बोले तो एक्टिवा।
विष्णु के सुशासन से समर रहा छत्तीसगढ़। छत्तीसगढ़ में नक्सल समस्या को समाप्त करने से जुड़ी सुरक्षा और विकास की नीतियों को अपूर्व सफलता मिली है। नियद लानार यानी आपका अच्छा गांव योजना के तहत हर एक 5 नक्सल पीड़ित गांव पर एक सुरक्षा कैंप बना है। सुकमा और बीजापुर में वर्षों से बंद पड़ी दर्जन भर सड़कों पर बस सेवाएं शुरू हुई हैं। माओवाद पीड़ित दुर्गम इलाकों में बने 32 नए सुरक्षा कैंप बनने और युवा अफसरों को फील्ड में नेतृत्व का अवसर देने से ग्रामीणों को आवास, अस्पताल, पानी, बिजली, सड़क, पुल पुलिया, स्कूल आदि 28 बुनियादी सुविधाओं को सुलभ करवाने में खासी तेजी आई है।
सुरक्षा कैंप के इर्द गिर्द जितने भी गांव हैं, वहां पर सरकार प्राथमिकता के साथ जो भी सरकार की योजना है पहुंचाने का काम हमारी सरकार प्रतिबद्धता के साथ करेगी।
Presenting partner IDFC First Bank, always you first. Associate partner Dream Sports, make sports better.
अरे ऋषि आज स्कूल नहीं गए?
3 महीने से फीस नहीं भर पाई तो निकाल दिया स्कूल ने। कहीं आपके बाद आपके बच्चों के सपने न टूट जाएं। आज ही लीजिए पॉलिसी बाजार पे 2 करोड़ का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 690 रुपए महीने से शुरू।
Welcome back here with us on Times Now. And viewers, just less than a month is left for the big US elections. And ahead of that, yesterday there was a very important rally addressed by former US President Donald Trump. And we had the billionaire Elon Musk endorsing Donald Trump and speaking for Donald Trump in that particular rally at Pennsylvania. And will Musk be Donald's Trump card is what we are discussing right now. Nish Acharya and Vibhuti Jha continue to be with us at this point in time. Nish Acharya, because I have very little time and I'd like to take one quick question, with both of you. So to you first, Nish Acharya. Now, eventually you did mention that there is going to be some impact that Musk is going to have in the current elections, and you were saying that mobilization of people is going to be very, very important. But we also know that Musk has not always been a Trump supporter. He gradually became a Trump supporter. And then I was just looking at some data. The interview between Elon Musk and Donald Trump, it broke internet. There were about 200 million people who tuned in. It received about 73 million views the day it happened. So, I mean, this definitely is making some kind of a noise somewhere. But will it translate into votes? Of course, that remains to be seen.
I don't think it has a whole lot of impact. So remember, Kamala Harris got the endorsement of Taylor Swift, who's an even bigger personality worldwide than Elon Musk is. And it had some effect for some people. And so, that was great for Harris. The Musk support is great for Trump. But ultimately, in elections, the endorsements do not mean as much anymore. The United States is a slightly Democratic country. The Electoral College is evenly split. Okay. And so, that it makes a difference on the margins. At this point, with 1 month to go, It's going to be about the swing states, as you mentioned before the break. It's going to be about mobilizing voters in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, all of these swing states. And so if Democrats, I believe when Democrats get out their voters, and also for the undecided, when they can make the case over the next month that this, maintaining the status quo is better, then I think they can win. And these things will be considered sort of smaller issues, whether it's Taylor Swift or it's Elon Musk.
I'll give the last word to Vibhuti Jha, because we were talking about swing states. Pennsylvania is one of those, a very important one. Democrats have won this state in every election since 1992, and then Trump came and, took away that seat. So now, do you think this rally with Musk is going to bring the voters back to Trump?
One thing is very clear, that as Mr. Acharya has very candidly conceded, that he fears the impact that it may there. Marginal, yes, it is. The elections are based on marginal impacts, which happens in the last 7 days, the October surprise in America and everything else. So now you are looking at a scenario. There is definitely a concern that this might tilt the scale in favor. But here is an important element. Very important element, the Democratic policy, Democratic Party policy, which is remarkably dangerous, that they are talking about giving voting rights to anybody and everybody. In California, they have passed a law that voters may not be asked any identity of citizenship or otherwise.
Not a single person has talked about
this. Is very critical for everybody to understand all over the world, that we are the only country in the world that doesn't insist on voter ID to vote in elections. So next time tourists coming to California, I can also vote in California because there is no requirement for ID. But final thing that I wanted to add here, final thing, it is going to impact. It is going to make a difference.
It is going to make a difference, but Nish Acharya is of the view the difference is not going to be huge. Maybe a little bit of impact Musk can have on the outcome of the elections, his support to Donald Trump. But that's going to be our key focus ahead as well. Vibhuti Jha, Nish Acharya, appreciate both of you for joining us on this very interesting debate on the upcoming US elections. We will